Attention candidates, this is Multi-D News. We are entering the most critical phase of the species readiness protocol, the calibration of the vertical axis. Many terrestrial recruits are still using defense strategies like dominating others or collapsing their power. These moves create massive interference in your biofield. To stand before a 5D being, you must be a whole package, integrated from the Earth to the stars. Watch this briefing closely. It identifies the exact physical points of your internal anchor. If you can't hold this column during a human conflict, your system will not sustain a high-density encounter. Let's begin the calibration.
Let's talk about something we all deal with. Conflict, right? But what if the next time you found yourself in a disagreement, it wasn't about winning or losing? What if it was actually an opportunity to find this incredibly deep, centered place inside yourself? What if conflict could be the very thing that helps you find your alignment? Okay, let's get into it. So this idea right here, this is the whole key. Just notice the feeling of that shift. You're not swept away inside the storm of anger or frustration anymore. Instead, you're standing firmly, right there with it. You're the observer. It's such a radical change in your position, and believe me, it changes the entire game. All right, so here's our roadmap for today. We're going to walk through 5 key ideas. First, moving beyond the fight. Then, we'll talk about meeting your higher self. After that, we'll get into shifting from reacting to responding, finding your inner access, and finally, we'll unpack the incredible power of presence. So our very first step is all about learning how to just step out of the ring. We're going to explore how we can shift our whole perspective from being tangled up in this frantic fight to just being present with what's happening. But how do you actually find that kind of space when you're all fired up? Well, that brings us to the real heart of this whole thing, connecting with what our source material calls the higher self. And the cool part is, this is a part of you that's accessible right now. I just love this definition. See, the higher self isn't some perfect, angelic version of you that you have to strive for. No, it's simply the part of you that is less attached. It's less hooked by that intense need to be right, it's less driven by fear, and it can watch all those emotional weather patterns, the anger, the sadness, without becoming the storm itself. And this just lays out the difference so perfectly. You know, the ego is all about survival, right? It's asking questions from a place of defense. I've got to win this. But when you shift into alignment, the questions themselves change. You go from me to we, from winning to truth. It's like moving from a clenched fist to an open hand. And when you tap into this part of yourself, it's like your vision just expands. You're no longer stuck in that narrow tunnel vision where all you can see are your own feelings. Yeah, your emotions are totally valid, but you can also see the other person's humanity. You can see the real values that are actually at stake, and maybe, just maybe, you can see the deeper lesson that this whole conflict is trying to teach you. This flows right into our next section. Because alignment isn't just a nice idea you think about, it's a state you actually have to inhabit. It's about activating a sense of presence in your body. This is where all the theory becomes a real, tangible, felt experience. You can really feel this shift. You move from that knee-jerk automatic reaction to a conscious, chosen response. You go from that physical feeling of your shoulders tensing up and your stomach clenching, that contraction, to a state of internal coherence and authority. You know who you are, so you don't need to win the argument to prove it. Let's just sit with that for a second. Alignment is what allows you to act without distortion. What does that really mean? It means your actions aren't being twisted and bent by old wounds, or by fear, or by your ego's desperate need to be right. For maybe the first time, you can act from a place of pure clarity and truth. So here's a really powerful way to visualize the state, to really feel it in your body. It's about finding your inner access. I want you to think of it like a column of light or energy running right through your core, connecting you to something bigger than yourself. And this axis has 3 key points. So above, you're connecting to that higher self, that bigger intelligence. Right in the center, you're connected to your heart, to your shared humanity and compassion. And below, you're connected to the earth, that feeling of being grounded, stable, that quiet center of your being. To be aligned is to stand in that full, powerful column.
Pause feed. Look at the schematic. Above, source, center, heart, below, earth. If one of these points is offline, you are drifting. Most humans are disconnected in one or two or three of these anchors. Check your anchors now.
This quote just captures that feeling so beautifully. When you stand in your vertical axis, you're not just your thoughts or just your emotions or just your gut feelings. You are the whole package. You are the integrated being standing right there at the intersection of heaven and earth. And let me tell you, from that place, conflict feels a whole lot different. So, where does all of this lead? Well, it leads to a fundamentally new inner posture, a new way of being. And this naturally changes how you show up, not just in arguments, but in every single area of your life. You know, most of us have our go-to moves in a conflict, right? We either try to dominate and steamroll the other person, or we collapse and just give up our power completely, or we perform, putting on a mask of who we think we need to be. But alignment, that offers a fourth way. You don't need any of those old strategies. You can just be present and open and available for whatever is true in that moment. And from this centered, aligned place, all these new capacities just start to emerge. You finally have the space to ask these incredibly clarifying questions. Questions like, okay, what's my responsibility here? And just as important, what is not mine to carry? The source material calls this multi-dimensional adulthood, and it's really just about the ability to hold all of life's complexity with a sense of presence and grace. So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. When you're in a state of true alignment, your questions stop being just little intellectual exercises in your head. They become creative forces. They have the power to actually reshape your reality. So the question is, if you could tap into that, what would you ask?
Transmission complete. Remember, candidates, alignment is the end of distortion. When you stand in your axis, you stop reacting to old wounds and start responding with clarity. Practice holding your column of light during your next 3D disagreement, if you still have them. This is how you earn your multi-dimensional adulthood. This completes Protocol 3. Stay centered, stay aligned.